Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, Thinkbusiness.ie is a fantastic resource for Irish businesses of all sizes, and backed by Bank of Ireland, it contains insightful advice and case studies to help business owners to solve problems and identify opportunities for growth. The editor of Thinkbusiness.ie, John Kennedy, joins us now. John, we'll be discussing Thinkbusiness.ie and how it can be of assistance to Irish business owners. But first, I'd like to get an insight into your early journalistic career.
Thanks for having me. When I first came out of college and I was studying journalism, I was freelancing for a year, working for various provincial, regional papers like the Meath Chronicle. I used to do court reporting for the Irish Independent. And while all that was fun, I tried freelancing and it was not the best existence when you're really only starting out. So I found myself, before I knew it, I was in a publishing company, and I was 21 at the time. And within a few weeks of that publishing company, I found myself suddenly the editor of an electronics magazine. I probably had about 4 or 5 magazines I would have edited over about 4 or 5 years before I ended up then joining Business and Finance as their technology editor at around the height of the dot-com boom and then bust. And so that was, again, an exciting time. I got to go to places like San Francisco and meet the founders of Cisco and, you know, see young companies like Google that were only starting out at the time. And you know, it was a great education. And, of course, the 9/11 happened and dot-com bubble burst. And I found myself then working in another publishing company that I think at the time we were editing technology pages for the Irish Independent newspaper, and we decided let's do a technology news website, and that was launched in October 2002, and that was called SiliconRepublic.com. I probably spent 17 years with Silicon Republic, and in 2019 I then left Silicon Republic and joined Bank of Ireland to take on Think Business. So
what are the primary objectives then of Think Business?
So Think Business is a resource for SMEs and startups. So the site was originally created in 2015, practically as a way of the bank giving back to the community. Like, you know, it wasn't even branded Bank of Ireland at the time. It was very much its own entity. And the idea was basically, like, let's share tools, resources and knowledge with people who are either starting companies, you know, or running companies, and they may have issues to solve. So basically the whole premise of it is that it's there as a resource to, you know, help you with problems. In a way, if you think about it, traditionally the bank manager in every village and town in Ireland was the person a lot of business people would traditionally have gone to if they had a problem with cash flow or, you know, trying to figure out some business problem. And, you know, the nature of banking has changed so much now that, you know, most towns don't have that kind of dynamic figure that was the bank manager of the 20th century or the 19th century. It's flattened a lot differently, but you still need somewhere to go maybe to solve business problems. And I think Think Business kind of in its own little way tries to fill that gap.
The Think Business website is a phenomenal resource for anybody, no matter what stage they're at in business. But for those that haven't visited the website already, John, what resources are available to businesses through it?
Okay, so the site, I have 2 ways of addressing what a lot of people like. Business people love to read about other business people. So we address that through things like more in-depth interviews with people, case studies and podcasts. I think we had yourself on recently, Karl, as a podcast guest. And then, you know, then we do it through, you know, actual dedicated sections on everything from environment to careers, finance, sales and marketing, technology and innovation. And then we've tools and templates sections. So we'd have things like, you know, how to budget for marketing campaigns, how to tips for exhibiting at events, you know, how to even write a book, how to set up a limited company, templates for free marketing plans, how to manage your sales targets, even things like a letter of employment template. So if you're giving someone a job for the first time, there's a template there for you to write that letter of offer. Or, for example, if you're, trying to put together sales forecasts, we have a sales forecast template. So different things, invoice templates, you name it. So even the templates for writing that dreaded business plan that every business person must sit down and write, which that they give that plan then either to investors or bank managers. So all of those tools are there, and we're trying to constantly keep them up to date with more things that will be relevant as we venture forward.
And John, you've spoken to more business people than many across the country over the past 20 years. So on that basis, what are your thoughts in terms of the landscape here in Ireland to do business within?
It's like that tale of two cities sometimes, like we have one economy or two-speed economy at times. You have a very strong multinational economy that seems to flourish in Ireland. And then we seem to have an SME economy that, is strong, but without the multinational economy, I don't know where our economy overall will be. So I have to say, first of all, we owe a huge debt to the likes of IDA Ireland for what they've done over the years in terms of bringing the kind of companies in, and there still are. We have to recognise, though, that we have, 80% of people who work in Ireland work in SMEs. And a lot of those SMEs are often less than 20 people, less than 10 people. And, we need to be very conscious that we don't have lots of red tape and bureaucracy for these people because it's hard enough to employ people. I don't know anybody who is in business who doesn't at some point have worried about, will they make payroll? It's a very real thing. A lot of businesses, we as a country, I think we should be very proud of how we responded during COVID, for example, like in terms of the various supports we gave businesses during that time. I think, as a country, we should be making it easy for people to start businesses and hopefully succeed. And the other thing as well, I'm very conscious of my time as well, is that it's very dangerous also to present this idea of entrepreneurship as glamorous because not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur either. And you don't want people kind of going from one support to the next support, not getting anything started. There always has to be strain. There always has to be a challenge. And also, a lot of people also don't pay enough attention to the mental well-being of people who start businesses and run businesses in terms of it's quite a lonely exercise starting out, I imagine. And, I think the stress and isolation that can come with that is quite hard. There's other myths. People see people raising money and raising finance. So this company just raised 10 million and they're valued now at this much and they're going to be a unicorn or something like that. I don't see it that way. I often see when a company raises money, they've got a whole new board and everybody has a boss. So I kind of almost commiserate with people when they take on investment because it means they have a whole new set of people that they need to impress.
And of course, John, the local enterprise offices and Enterprise Ireland and Leader and other agencies are providing great supports to SMEs. But what additional supports would you think are needed within the SME community? That's
a good question. I think when we look at the likes of Enterprise Ireland and the local, the local enterprise boards and stuff like that, I think we just need to be better at letting people know what's available to them. We need to be kind of better at, equipping people with the knowledge to say, you can sign up for this course, you can get this allowance, you should be telling your staff that they should be signing up for pensions. And that's not me selling pensions, by the way. It's just me showing that there's a very obvious opportunity there for people to take on things that will enrich their lives and enrich their workers. So I think information is probably the most important thing. People will certainly hear about things that are available when things go wrong. But when things are going well, you miss a lot too.
John, all very relevant points, I have to say. Having interviewed so many business people from a range of sectors, how would you evaluate the current mood and what are the common challenges facing them today?
Like the economy on the face of it is doing very well. But then again, if you look at, say, the tech world, you hear things about the tech wreck. I think actually it's what's happening is a lot of those big companies that were hiring a lot of people during the pandemic because suddenly people were spending more on technology than they would have for the next 5 years. Now they're just getting back to realistic growth levels. People are getting laid off. That actually is good news for Indigenous companies in terms of skills, but that will balance out in time. So I'd say on that front, I think Indigenous companies and technology are really reaping the whirlwind now. You've seen a lot of merger and acquisition activity, a lot of growth. Overall, though, it's one thing to say we have a nice booming economy, but we can't all say it's great when you still have, it's, let's just say you've got the perfect apple and then there's a big bruise on it. And that bruise is the housing crisis as well. And you're also hearing people saying, well, I can't hire people because the people I'd like to hire can't work and live where I am because, they can't get a house at a reasonable cost. So The present economy on the face of it is doing great. We've got a big surplus that's almost fantastic, but embarrassing in some respects when you think about it. Like when we have a situation where a lot of people can't get can't get somewhere to live. We need to be looking at next generations as well. So if you hear about people in their 30s and 40s finding it very hard to get in the property ladder, that's a cause for a concern, because they are our next generation of people who are going to be also paying our pensions and paying taxes that support those pensions. So as a country, I wouldn't say any country is perfect. You look at some Scandinavian countries and you say, oh, wow, they do everything right, Sweden or whatever. They have their own different sets of problems too. Not everything is perfect. But I think as a country, if we are doing well now economically and we have a budget surplus, we should be working really, really hard to solve those underlying issues that we're hearing about all the time.
John, you've been studying entrepreneurship for a long time through the different roles that you've had, including Silicon Republic and Think Business. So what advice have you got for anybody that's considering starting a new business today?
I think mental resilience is something that you really need to probably think about a lot as well. It's not just about having the money to start a business, because it does take money. It's also easier for people in their 20s and 30s to start something. I think as people get into their 30s and 40s, that's when they start having kids, and or maybe their kids are going to college, and suddenly that freedom to start and fail and start again, all that kind of stuff, it goes out the window. I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are just people who keep going and failing, that kind of thing. I talked to a chap the other day who said, maybe it's some kind of mental condition that makes people do that. I don't know. But I certainly think resilience is something that I think is the hallmark of people who succeed. And I think you need to be mentally tough. You could be starting something like a coffee shop or a tech company, and all those things are very different businesses, but they do require, certain mental resilience. That will mean you will have times going, why did I do this? You'll be trying to keep the wolf from the door, and, success takes time and patience, I think. And, people have different perceptions of success. For some people, success might look like that big company that you sold and you made a load of money out of. For others, it's simply being able to keep going for 20 or 30 years.
It's good advice, John. And finally, what are your future growth plans for Thinkbusiness.ie?
Well, we're going to basically focus a lot more on the podcasts, and I think more longer form reads, I think is probably what I want to go. Really good, strong interviews, and keep the resources coming. So it'll be a mixture between people and resources and tools, I think, will be where I want to go with it. I think I'd like it to be the place where any time you give it, that you learn something new every day, and that, you walk away with something, you walk away equipped, either with knowledge or know-how. And that's my ambition for it.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was John Kennedy, the editor of Thinkbusiness.ie, and I would certainly encourage your listeners to utilise this valuable resource.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.